the American people watching today, hear this: TikTok is a weapon by the Chinese Communist Party to spy on you, manipulate what you see, and exploit for future generations. A ban is only a short-term way to address TikTok, and a data privacy bill is the only way to stop TikTok. And a data privacy bill is the only way to stop TikTok.
And a data privacy bill is the only way to stop TikTok
from ever happening again in the United States. I yield back.
You know it's serious when I pull my printer out of storage. Okay? I did it. I went to Staples. I just spent $60 on printer ink for this HP piece of shit 4-in-1. So I had to go buy more ink so I could print out the entire Restrict Act. I wanted it in my hands for the ASMR feel. Okay? I didn't want to read it on the screen. Everyone's like, it's 55 pages long. I was like, no, it isn't. It's really short. It's only 10 pages on the screen. They printed all fucking stupid. That's why it's 55 pages. But I wanted to sit down with my hands, touch it, feel it, and actually see it so I could concentrate on this shit. And I sat there and I read the whole fucking thing. And first thing, this is not a TikTok ban. It could ban TikTok, but the word TikTok, the parent company ByteDance, they are not in this bill. They are not in the Restrict Act. Because this is not solely about TikTok. TikTok is the cover, so the rest of the internet won't give a shit about this. This bill allows the Secretary of Commerce to deem another country a foreign adversary and then cut them off from access to American internet. Think about that for a second. Think about it. They have a whole clause in here. The Secretary may, in consultation with the Director of National Intelligence, any foreign government or regime as a foreign adversary, if the Secretary finds that the foreign government or regime is engaged in a long-term pattern or serious instances of conduct significantly adverse to the national security of the United States. So we are going to leave it up to the Secretary of Commerce to decide if we are at a cyber war. That's what this comes down to. And the Secretary of Commerce can make that decision. Congress can be like, hey, here's a resolution that says we don't like that. But this bill gives the Secretary of Commerce the power to put us in a cyber war. Are you hearing me? It's not about shutting off fucking TikTok. Okay, Reddit? All right, Fark.com? Okay? Every fucking reporter out there, read the fucking bill.
How we use the internet is about to fundamentally change forever, and it's terrifying. This is Bill S-686, also known as the Restrict Bill. You'll probably know it as the TikTok ban bill, but it does so much more than just that. It actually does more than any bill I think we've ever seen. I encourage everyone to read it by going here and clicking the text tab, but here are the main takeaways. Foreign adversaries can change by definition, but a few are already listed. They are the People's Republic of China, including Hong Kong, Special Administration Region, the Republic of Cuba, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and of course, the Russian Federation and Venezuela under the regime of Nicolas Maduro Moros. I hope I pronounced that correctly, but these definitions can change at any time. The bill covers hardware technology like modems, routers, and home cameras, and virtual tech like VPNs, and basically bans them if they are manufactured by or used to contact and deal with foreign adversaries. Speaking of VPNs, using VPNs to bypass banned apps such as TikTok is made a criminal act under this bill, and the penalty, it's a minimum imprisonment of 20 years and a minimum fine of $250,000 or $1 million, depending if you knowingly did so to access banned content. The bill gives the federal government the power to monitor any activity used by these suspected devices, virtual or otherwise. Essentially, they can monitor what you are doing at home 24/7 without even informing you. This includes things such as routers, video games, streaming apps, smart thermostats, Ring cameras, basically anything that uses the internet. Now, the real terrifying part of all of this, as if that all wasn't terrifying enough, is that the bill goes on to state that this will happen by the president appointing a Secretary of Communication. That secretary then forms a group on their own without any voter input whatsoever. This group can have meetings behind closed doors. They don't have to disclose anything. They can ban and deem anything inappropriate or a risk to security at any moment in time. And if they do, they can go through your instant messages, your emails, texts, basically anything that uses the internet, and they can censor it. So in summary, this bill can effectively ban anything the government deems inappropriate extremely quickly without warning. The ramifications of this range from breaking up mass communication methods to even watching the cameras in your home, aka spying on you. It really is that bad, and I am not speaking in hyperbole.
The U.S. government has officially lost its mind. Philip DeFranco recently pointed out that
Senator Rand Paul actually just made a really good point.
Every accusation of data gathering that's been attributed to TikTok could also be attributed to domestic big tech.
And crazily enough, it's not just Rand Paul who's starting to make sense. On the other side, we've got AOC saying this.
It just doesn't feel right.
Now, whether it's Rand Paul or AOC, they're all alluding to something that they're not saying out in the open, so I'll do it for them. What the TikTok ban and the Restrict Act is actually about is most simply illustrated by something going on in social media right now, today.
Does this guy look like David M. Rothschild to you? He looks like David M. Rothschild to me. If that's the case, then this is control, another medium of control, controlled opposition. That's the only thing I can think of, because this guy looks just like David M. Rothschild. The reason why they created the HARP device and Project Bluebeam, so this way they could fake an unidentified aerial phenomenon / unidentified flying object invasion, and then make him come through the clouds like he's the Cesare Borgia version of Jesus Christ and save everybody. Convince you to take the radio frequency identification digital token to be inserted underneath your skin, the silicon subdermal implant, which allows you to purchase things, buys things, get paid from your job digitally. You see what I'm saying? And then that way there's no way that they can supposedly, it's convenient, supposedly it's, it's easy to use, and you don't have to worry about cyber thieves, which is a lie. Because all technology can be hacked. It's just as simple as that. You see, there's no discernible difference betwixt technology and magic. Okay? I didn't say that. That was just a quote that I read from one of these individuals that currently rule the world, which turned it upside down, inside out, where a woman encompasseth a man. Women have more rights than you do if you're a man. Transgenders have more rights than women, and they're teaching children in preschool and elementary that a boy can be a girl could be a boy, and then later on in life, when they've realized that they've made a huge mistake, they can't go back. They're using and lambacking off of the trials, tribulations, and the greatest slave trade in the history of the world that had been instituted or implemented upon the blacks and the Latinos and the Native Americans, that this land was stolen because these Edomites, as you see Mr. Rothschild telling us, stole this land deliberately on purpose in order to push this wickedness that you see today. On purpose. Couldn't do it in Europe, so they decided to do it over here. Okay.
You search France on Instagram, this is what comes up. But on TikTok, if you search France, this is what you'll find. The TikTok ban and this whole concept of the Restrict Act isn't about anything but control, because people are actually communicating on this app in real time, globally. If you don't believe me, try the France search bar thing on your Instagram and then on TikTok and look at the difference yourself. Because all of this sounds like it's from a George Orwell novel, but the reality is this is 2023 in the United States of America that's supposed to be the land of the free, where people's freedom of speech and access to information is supposed to be unrestricted. Because the irony here is, if it wasn't for this Chinese app, TikTok, we wouldn't know what was going on in the world, because this isn't covered anywhere else. And it's because Western superpowers and the tech companies that they are in bed with don't want us to know that the rest of the world is just as unhappy with their leadership as we are. They don't want us to realize globally that we're not as different as we think we are. They don't want the cat to get out of the bag that governments globally have no idea what they are doing, and they're trying to combat that by squeezing their grip of control even tighter across the world. And although the United States of America is the last place that you would expect some sort of totalitarian grasp for power and control of the media, it's happening before our very eyes. So keep that in mind the next time you hear somebody trying to convince you that TikTok is actually the problem here.
Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Bashem Yashayah, Bashem Kokodash, double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. We're the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yashayah-LA. Today, we're known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the Restrict Act, or also what's known as the TikTok Ban Act, which Congress, as you've seen in the very first clip I played, is hamming it up and basically playing to the American people's emotions to make them believe that this Restrict Act is the only way to protect you from the Chinese spying on you. Now, that being said, before we get into that, let's read this. This is 2 Thessalonians 2:8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Now, I read this because right now, the Lord, Yahweh, which is the true Hebrew name for God, which is Hebrew for He is consuming these devils by the spirit of his mouth. And the spirit of his mouth are brothers like me, the apostles, and other brothers who are out here spreading this truth of what the Bible actually talks about, right? How the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, we are the people spoken about in the Bible who would lose their heritage, would be basically in servitude to the other nations upon the earth, but at the end times that they would remember themselves, wake up and return to their old identity, that being the Israelites, so that way they could then welcome the Messiah on his second coming and then take over the world along with the Messiah. Okay, that's the truth of what's going on, and that truth is spreading like wildfire. And that is the real reason why this Restrict Act is being put into place, right? Along with a bunch of other issues, right? But you see Esau being the biblical name for the Caucasian race, they're trying to put out the fires as they're coming up, right? They're trying to basically restrict free speech online. And that really is what the Restrict Act is all about, is to stop this truth from getting out. Along with, people finding out what's going on in other nations and all these other things. But the primary reason why they need to basically put I guess you could say a guardrail on the internet and restrict free speech is because of this truth. Because they're being revealed for who they are, right? This is why you got devils like that Dr. Brown coming out trying to rebuke or trying to refute the fact that the Negro, Latino, Native Americans are the Israelites, right? When he doesn't prove any single point. All he does is use his opinion and doesn't even go into the Bible and can't even explain any prophecies of how his people, the small hatters, the Amalek, right? Amalek, the so-called Jews, fit any of the Bible curse or Bible prophecies, right? And because of this, right, because they're being consumed by the truth and their lies are being swallowed up, this is why they're basically going to stop the internet the way as it is. As the I think it was the second video, the guy was being more informative, just explaining what was in the Restrict Bill, how this committee can basically deem anything to be a danger to the nation and can basically ban it. What do you think they're going to do to all these Hebrew Israelite videos coming out? Basically telling telling the world, what's really going on, the truth about these devils in power, how they're the Edomites, and the reason why they're doing what they're doing right now is because they're ultimately trying to thin out the world population and kill off the Israelites, right before the second coming of the Messiah. See, we're the ones that are spreading the truth, and that's because we've been given the Spirit of the Lord, right? The Holy Spirit to bring out this truth, right? And we've been given the apostles, the teachers of old, right, who have been brought back in reincarnation and are now spreading this truth again, right? But again, these devils, it doesn't matter what they do, right? Because what's going to happen is this truth is going to get out regardless, right? And it as the apostle said, man, they believe that the elect have already been sealed. So all we got to do now is wait for things to continue to progress and deteriorate, okay? Because what's pretty much needs to happen now? Well, the last two big prophecies, that being the MOTB being initiated and mandated for you to take so that we could participate in society, right? And then the last prophecy, for the most part, is going to be World War III, when all the nations are going to be fighting. And if you paying attention to what's going on right now in the world, you could see that Saudi Arabia is basically betraying America, its ally, and pretty much brokering peace in the Middle East, and basically bringing all the Arab nations together, along with the enemies of America and the Western powers, right? The whore and the beast, right? And ultimately, watch. I have a feeling that we're going to see Saudi Arabia be declared an enemy of America, right? Or enemy of the Western powers, and that's going to give a perfect excuse for these Edomites to take their armies over to Saudi Arabia, which is prophesied to happen, right? Where the Lord says, I shall remove far off from you the northern army and take them over into a land barren and desolate, right? That's talking about taking the American army over there to Saudi Arabia, okay? And we just seen the death of the petrodollar, where Saudi Arabia started selling their oil for yuan, right? Basically negating their promise to only sell oil in U.S. currency, right? So they've already betrayed America. So you could tell this. You could bet your bottom dollar that the State Department right now is finding out ways to implicate what is his name? Mohammed bin Salman, right? MBR, the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia, who's going to soon more likely be crowned king of Saudi Arabia, right? They're going to find out a reason to call him a terrorist, an enemy. Who knows, man? They may even say that Saudi Arabia was behind the trade tower attacks, right? They may finally come out with that truth. But the point being is that right now, these devils, these Edomites in power, are being consumed by the truth. That they're being revealed for who they are. They're being, all the atrocities that they've done, not only to the Israelites, but to the other nations, is being brought to the forefront. And they're basically being, ashamed, right? And because of this, you're seeing a grand shift in the power dynamic of the world, right? Most of the world is now looking towards China and Russia, right? And America is losing its hegemony over the world. And pretty soon, what does that mean? That's going to mean that America is going to go to war. And we're already seeing it, right? They're already trying to conduct war against Russia through the proxy Ukraine, and also with China, with the proxy through Taiwan, right? But either way, it doesn't matter, right? Because you see these devils, we ultimately know that they're going to lose. They're going to lose badly, right? And it's not going to be to China, to Russia, but it's going to be to the Lord. When the Lord comes back, he's going to annihilate not only these Edomites, but all the other nations, the Russians, the Germans, the Ukrainians, Chinese, the Taiwanese, all other nations are going to be put under the foot of the Lord, right? So these devils right now in power who are scrambling, trying to come up with all these excuses and put on all this dramatic shows that they really care about you and they want to protect you from China spying, when that Congressman Rand Paul stated very clearly that the same accusations being made against TikTok can be made against other social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and whatnot, right? But the big difference, like the elder Malcolm from Chicago said, right, is that TikTok cannot be censored the same way that these U.S. social media companies can be censored. And why is that? Well, because China controls it. And right now, China is using TikTok as a weapon to show America its depravity, right? To show them what's really going on in the world. Now, they're definitely not allowing that to happen in China because, again, they're not using this weapon on their own people, right? Over there, they show things like good moral skits, and we've all seen them, right? It's the scripted Chinese little videos that show little kids doing good things for old people, or people doing morally right things, which they're fine, but they're pretty cringy and shit, right? Pretty far-fetched, the ideas and stuff. But the point being is that these devils, these Edomites in power right now, they're gonna make you believe that that the reason why they're gonna pass this bill is gonna be to protect you from TikTok. It's the same reason why they passed the Patriot Act, right? They did it by scaring the world with Osama bin Laden, saying that this boogeyman is gonna kill you and your family. It's all about terrorists. We gotta protect you, and this Patriot Act and the NDAA is the only way we could do it. And what ended up happening? Well, when those laws passed, you had all these restrictions being put on the American people. It's going to be the same thing with this Restrict Act, right? This is where the Lord is going to finally bring His prophecy of bringing a famine to the world, right? This is Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh B'Hashem Yashai. You see, this is what's going to ultimately happen, right? This Restrict Act, because they're going to pass it, man. This is why they're making such a big, ado about nothing about, with TikTok, right? You're going to see that this bill is going to get banned, and if they do modify it, it's going to be only to satiate a few people, and some of the people in power are going to be, not affected, and then it's gonna pass. Just like what happened with the what was it? It was the Internet Act, where they basically started to monitor everybody, and they basically had to stop the first passing of it. They modified it so that way big corporations weren't affected, and they passed that shit. And that's gonna be the exact same thing that's gonna happen if they even do try to modify it, right? But again, ultimately, this is going to lead to this prophecy right here, right? That this is going to bring forward the famine of the word, right? It's going to, like you heard it, right? What did they say? If you try to get around these bans, they're going to implement a minimum of 20-year prison sentences or a $250,000 fine, right? When they start restricting, because again, right now they're making they're saying that they're going to do just foreign countries, right? But notice what the guy said, that it could be any entity that could be blocked. And who do you think they're going to be blocking? They're not going to be blocking these LGBT, drag queen, story time things. No, they're going to be blocking the men who are on the street, prophesying the downfall of America and the corruption of the society which Esau has created from, all the way back in ancient times. That's where the famine of the word is going to start coming from, right? And that's how this prophecy is going to be fulfilled. So, this is Proverbs 26 and 25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart, whose hatred is covered by deceit. His wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. And that's what's happening now, right? We're showing you, me, the other brothers, we're showing you the truth behind these slick political moves, right? What they're really trying to go for, right? We're showing you these devils' wickedness in front of the whole congregation, so that way people understand that when these devils do it, that you understand that we were warning you about this, right? And how are we warning you about this? Well, because we knew that the Lord had prophesied that these devils would do things like this, right? In the end days, right? They would do whatever they could to try to stop the words of the Bible from, being heard by all the people. Verse 27, who diggeth pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth the stone, it will return upon him. A lying tongue, right, here's the point, a lying tongue hateth those that are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth worketh ruin. So these devils, they hate that they're being revealed. They hate that they're being found out that they're the Edomites, okay? They want this truth to go away, but hey, prophecy is prophecy, and these devils can't stop it. So, I just wanted to bring this out, Aki. I wanted to show you all what really is behind this whole TikTok ban. It has nothing to do with TikTok, right? It may have something to do with TikTok, a little tiny bit, but it's really just about bringing the killing free speech online and trying to stop this truth from spreading. So hopefully this video was edifying, Aki. Until next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Yashayah-LA, double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.